I've already switched the machine over to the shader needle and put a shading tube in. And we're going to start out, first thing we're going to do is some black shading on this tattoo. And most people probably wouldn't realize that you're going to put black into this. If you just took this tattoo right now and started coloring it, you get what you call the coloring book syndrome. The thing looks just like a black outline with a bunch of color and it looks like a child did it. You want to highlight every one of these petals in the rose. You want to highlight the stem, some of the leaves. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Put a little bit more Vaseline on there. What you're going to do is you're going to take the, I've already got some black ink in there. You're going to go up to each petal and just kind of follow it around the edge softly. Don't try to put it in real hard. If it looks like you're not getting any ink, that's okay. You'll see it. It'll eventually show up. What you want to do is just really lightly. You can see how it starts to give it a more three-dimensional look once you start putting in the black shading. Good black shading is the key to a good tattoo. If it's not black shaded, they'll just, like I said, they'll look like a coloring book and you're going to have no depth to the piece of work when you're all done. And when you put that in, what you want to do is you're actually putting it, start here, and you're actually kind of flicking it out like this. So the needle is making contact, then it comes away from the skin, and that's what will give you a softer shade towards the end. So again, just kind of almost following that outline of those petals just to get myself a little bit of a black line, and then you'll start to flick shade it, kind of get it to come out. It's called a sweep shade, is what we're going to do on this. Some pieces are done in black and gray shading where the whole piece is just shaded, there's no color in it, and then you'll actually take the black ink and you'll dilute it a little bit. And that you'll be diluting it with some witch hazel. You can just cut the ink in half in your cup and you can get a soft shade also. I'm using straight black outlining to do this. This is the easiest way to show you how to get some shading on a tattoo. You want to remember, you want to have a light source. You know, your shadows are coming from one side of the piece. You don't want them all the way around. I'm gonna have the light from the back side, so I'm gonna shade from the front on some of the center pieces, and I want to leave some openings there for color. And then again up on the back petals here. You'll see the difference when I'm done here. What this is going to look like with just the black shading from when we first started with the outline. You want to try to shade every single piece somewhere on it. Get a little bit of shading on every one of these petals. Otherwise, it's going to, like I said, it's going to just look really flat. The piece won't even look nice. It's already starting to take on some shape now. Where there's not any outlines and you want to get little dimples and stuff in the petals, just take it and sweep it up, and it'll add a little bit more dimension to the piece too. You can bring some of that black shading out and just up. You can see I'm not on the outline. I'm just a little bit before it. It'll start to make the petals look like they're curling at the ends a little bit. You do the same thing on the leaves, which are going to be green in the background. Just give them a little bit of shading where they touch the rose. That way you'll have a nice look. And then underneath, just remember there's any place where two pieces overlap, that should be a shadow. Okay. You can always apply a little Vaseline too to the skin. You can see I'm not really over wiping this tattoo. You can if you want, but you don't really need to till you're done. And that's pretty much it. Follow these down a little bit. Now you're done with the outline, and what you want to do, now next we're going to just clean the skin off. Same thing, spray some green soap on there and just wipe the whole thing off. Then you can put a nice little thin layer of Vaseline on there for a second, and that's what it should look like. It shouldn't be bleeding excessively. It should be every piece of this should be nice and shaded, so it already looks good now. It looks like it's a three-dimensional piece. Now we're going to put the color in on this tattoo. What you want to do is hold your machine like this with a paper towel, spray this with some green soap. You can see the ink come out of it. And just spray it with that for a couple minutes and let it run because it'll clean the tube out. And then a little bit of alcohol. You have to be careful, don't bend the needle. You can take your paper towel, you can go right into here and you can clean out a little bit of excess ink in there. You want it so it runs clear. Now it's ready for the first color. Okay, before you start putting the color in, you want to just put a little bit of Vaseline over it again. Same thing so it doesn't get all smeared. We're going to start with the red on this one. You don't have to worry so much now about starting at the bottom and working up because the outline's already in the tattoo, so you're okay. You want to put this in small circles. You want to start with small little circles and just put the ink in. And with this red, don't go all the way to the edge of the stencil of your tattoo, your outline. You want to leave a little bit of light at the edges of each one of these petals to give it a nice highlight. So just keep going. When you get just small circles is how you want to put it on. You want to go like this, you don't want to go like small tight circles overlapping each other. That'll put the ink in nice and solid. And then wipe it off. If you missed any spots, just go back, small circles again, and put it in. And you're going to do this around the whole tattoo. You can see you're going to wipe it a little bit more than you did before with the outline because you're putting a lot more ink down. You don't want to get it so smeared up you can't see where you're going. Don't overwork the skin when you're doing this. Don't go over the same spot too many times because you can chew the skin up too. You want to keep it one time over the skin is all you really need. And you can kind of go back and touch up any little spots if you missed anything. And just keep putting ink in and wiping it as you go. Just remember you still have the dark side, so you want to start where your dark shading was and work over to the light side of the tattoo. Small circles. When you get to the edge of those petals, you can kind of flip shade them out a little bit like I was doing with the black. It'll give it a little softer look. Bring that up almost to the edge like I said. And that's pretty much it for the red.